Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So happy Sunday. Unfortunately, I have some more FTX contagion news to talk about, and it involves DCG, which also involves Grayscale and Genesis. So let's talk about these things, and let's talk about some good news too. Pantera Capital buys $140 million worth of Bitcoin. What's that about? All right, let's get started. So welcome, guys, to Sunday edition. I know a lot of you guys want to get to either football or football, meaning soccer. So I'll try to keep today short, but we do have a lot to talk about. And Barry Silbert, well, he's feeling the heat because he is the CEO of DCG, Digital Currency Group, and DCG is the parent company of Grayscale, who offers Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and also parent company of Genesis Lending, which we recently found out needs funding. And right now, it's early. It's only been a few days, but so far, it seems like it's been leaked that the people that Barry went to for funding, which is around $1 billion for Genesis, have all turned him down. So far, he has not secured any funding. But we have heard of Binance and CZ possibly getting involved. Don't know if they will or not. They'll bring more scrutiny, right? But maybe it could happen. Right now, it seems like he has approached Mike Novogratz and also the Winklevosses. Both have said no. So again, it's still early, but this makes people wonder if if Genesis Lending, the hole that they have, which they're seeking about $1 billion in funding, whether or not that's going to carry into their other products like Grayscale and Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is the biggest trust out there by far with over 650,000 Bitcoins. Right? So GBTC right now, if you're tracking that discount premium, has dropped to nearly 50%. A lot of people use this as an indicator, like a good buying indicator, right? Or whether or not you should be buying GBTC, which is a share into this trust, right? But the thing is, it doesn't matter how deep the discount goes. It could go down to 90%. It's not like you can redeem. It's currently made so that only Bitcoin could go in the trust but never out. So it doesn't matter. You can't redeem for it. But many people still, like Kathy Wood and ARK Invest, they're one of the biggest holders of GBTC. They continue to buy it because they think this is a great time to be buying and loading up on Bitcoin-related assets and stocks. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are fearful about GBTC, whether or not they will be forced to liquidate. And from all accounts, all these other managers that are talking, they're like, no, there's really no chance. Grayscale has also come out and said, we're not in danger. We have all the Bitcoins, right? It's stored with Coinbase. We get audited regularly. So it's not like, any of the Bitcoin that's supposed to be in this trust has gone missing. So from that perspective, it's looking good. But many are wondering whether or not they will be forced to sell Bitcoin from the trust if more trouble arises. If they're desperate for money, if something happens to DCG, what happens with Grayscale and all the trusts? Well, many institutional fund managers have been basically saying it won't matter because someone else will buy it. Someone like Fidelity. Fidelity would happily buy it from DCG if it came to that, but doesn't mean that it will. Like I said, it's still very early, right? And the contagion may not be nearly as bad as it seems, but there are questions about what will happen to Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. If they do liquidate, you have 650,000 Bitcoins that could be coming into the market. But as of right now, seems it's very unlikely. It's still very early, so we got to give them time and see if they can patch up that hole with Genesis Lending. So unfortunately, this is the latest contagion news from the FTX fallout, right? And there's still other things that's going on. I don't know if any of you guys are in Japan, But FTX did acquire a Japanese exchange called Liquid, and they paused trading 5 days after suspending withdrawals. So basically, well, Japan is a little bit different. Japan forces exchanges to have their own assets, their own books, and everything else. So it could be the same thing with Liquid, but right now, Liquid has also suspended withdrawals and trading, and people are wondering what's going to happen, right? Obviously, with everything that's still being discovered right now. And it does seem like that hole that FTX, has is up to 3.1 billion. And this is just to the top 50 creditors. They said they have over 100. I think there was like 115, 120. But just the top 50 alone is owed $3.1 billion. Okay? And this is a list of the top 50 creditors that was posted. And a lot of these are like 226 million, 203 million, 174 million, 160 million, 130, and so forth, right? But, we don't know who. These are all anonymous, right? They have asked to stay anonymous because, unfortunately, this comes out. This may cause contagion to spread and more bank runs to happen. So we don't know, but I'm willing to guess or willing to bet that Genesis Lending is up here, has to be up here, right? They had some exposure, that's for sure. And there's many others. I heard it was recently discovered that FTX owes hundreds of millions to Celsius. So Celsius could be in the top 10 too. A lot of these companies have failed could be up here, but unfortunately there's probably other companies and projects and possibly exchanges that are also on here. We just don't know. Remember that Gemini did form a partnership with Genesis Lending to offer Gemini Earn. So does Genesis have any exposure? Does Gemini have any exposure? Don't know. But there are a lot of creditors looking to get their money back. And 50,000 ETH was just drained. So that hacker, I've been talking a lot about that hacker. People are trying to figure out who it is. It has to be one of the main four, but they're now moving some of the ETH to acquire BTC instead. So they sold off basically all the assets and just basically retain ETH. And now they're trying to change some of the ETH to Bitcoin. So it's getting weird. It's getting weird. And there are rumors the hackers may be the Bahamas security department, security regulators, because there was a ton of FTX assets that was demanded to be sent to them. And some speculate maybe the 500 million, 600 million was actually sent to the Bahamian government. And we don't know, again, SBF, Caroline, no one from FTX mentioned this before. It was only discovered afterwards. So there's something there, right? Why did they not mention at all in any of the interviews, any of the tweets, anything like that they were asked and they sent funds to the security regulators in Bahamas? So I don't know what that means. And this could be them. It's just rumors. But right now, whoever controls it is making some moves behind the scene. And then lastly, Forbes just did a whole piece about Caroline. And I got to say, I don't know what to think of this because they painted her as an innocent bystander. They painted her as this goofy girl that loves Harry Potter, that's a math whiz, right, with parents that are also economic professors. Her dad was the one that mentored Gary Gensler. And somehow she was approached by this nerdy guy who told her that he has a way to make billions to give back to charity. And she was somehow suckered in. And towards the end, she had very little role. She had little to do with the collapse. Like basically an innocent bystander that really didn't know what was going on. That's how I took it. And I don't know why they're taking this stance. We've been hearing a lot about this recently, right? We heard Kevin O'Leary defend SBF, saying, you know, there's not a bad bone in his body. You ask 9 out of 10 people, they love SBF. And I would still invest in SBF again. And now we have Forbes saying the same thing about Caroline, how she's just innocent. She has nothing to do with this, right? What's up recently? It's just very, very suspicious. There's no way you could tell. There's no way you could say that she was the girlfriend of SBF. She's the CEO, co-CEO of Alameda, right? There's no way you could say that she had no role in this or didn't know what was going on. There's no way in hell. So I don't know what's going on with this piece or any of the people that are coming to their rescue. I just don't get it. It's pretty obvious that they lied. They fooled everyone, right? And they're in a whole lot of trouble right now. And it caused Bitcoin and crypto, unfortunately, to come down once again and spread the contagion of bad stuff and causing regulators to get more concerned. I mean, the damage is massive, right? So I don't get the defense. But all right. So that's the bad, right? Of course, we still have, like, every day seems like there's something bad, right? But let's get to some good, because we do have good. Just because we have bad actors does not mean Bitcoin is down and out. And many of you guys know that. A lot of you guys are long-term holders. You're not swayed away, right? You may not like it. I don't like it. No one likes it short-term. But long-term, we know better days are coming and greater things are also in store. And that is why Pantera Capital has just decided to buy another $140 million worth of Bitcoin. What better time to load up on Bitcoin while it's low, right? It's the same thing. Michael Saylor may be buying $500 million soon because he planned on selling $500 million worth of stock to buy Bitcoin. But a lot of these guys are not going away. The true Bitcoiners, the true holders, right? They're not going away. So this is obviously very, very positive. Pantera still thinks in the next bull run, there's no way that Bitcoin won't hit 150,000 or more. And many people agree. Just because temporarily it seems like that is impossible. But let's not forget, Bitcoin was halfway there already at 70,000. So is it really that inconceivable that it can go higher? No. And he also explains it, the CEO of Pantera actually explains it very well. And that's because we have next halving event that's coming up in April in 2024. The inflation rate gets cut in half again. So 6.25 per block, which is already low, gets cut to 1.25, right? And you look at all the previous times, you look at all the previous halving events that we had, right? And you do the math, and you do the trend analysis, well, then this is basically the best time to be buying Bitcoin. Forget all the macro stuff and FTX contagion and everything else. Just based on the halving event alone, this is the time to be buying. So, I'll bring this up. This is what he posted. So just take a look, okay? All the previous cycles, you have a very, very, very growth spurt before the halving event. You go 2012, 2015, 2019, right? You have this growth event that happens before a halving event. And it usually follows after a big, massive dip. Just like in 2014 to 2015, there was a massive 80+% dip. Same thing from 2017 to 2019, a massive dip. Same thing even before 2012, you had a massive dip. And did we just have a massive dip? Yes, we did. But afterwards, guess what happens? You have massive price appreciation leading up to the halving event. And then after the halving event, you have even a greater price appreciation, right? So right now, according to Pantera, is basically as good as a time as any to be loading up on Bitcoin while it's low before we get up to the halving event, which they are predicting right around $35,000, 30 to 35,000. I would say that's a pretty good guess. And then after a halving event, going up to about $150,000. Makes a lot of sense. Now, of course, what happened before doesn't mean that it has to happen again. But this has always been the case for Bitcoin. Halving events drive Bitcoin higher. And the reason for that is because the inflation rate drops in half. The number of Bitcoins being released gets cut in half. And that's significant. Versus everything else out there, the inflation rate of Bitcoin is among the lowest. And Bitcoin has a set supply. So when you have a decreasing supply rate with an increase in demand rate, well, that's what leads to the price appreciation. So it makes a whole lot of sense. And of course, it's not just the big VC guys. It's not just the big billionaire guys that's getting involved. Well, you have multimillionaires involved too. Drake is the latest to get involved with Bitcoin. He's flexing his pure diamond out Ledger Nano. I don't know what that worth, but it's probably not as worth as the Bitcoin that he holds in there or crypto that he holds in there, right? So I point this out is because, yes, you still have many that's coming into the space, but also, right, it's a really good time to get involved with hardware wallets and self-custody wallets. If you haven't yet, make sure you start learning, okay? It's very important. If you're scared of the contagion, you're scared of exchanges, right? You want to safeguard your own crypto, make sure you learn it. It's about as good a time as any, right? So just to throw that out there once again. As for short-term movement, people are wondering what's coming next. You guys may have, I'm sure many of you guys have noticed that the volatility has basically stopped. We're going basically sideways with no movement at all. The dips and the climbs or the peaks have really been little, right? And if you look at like something like the Bollinger Band, usually when you get that tightening, that width being so narrow, something is about to happen. A big way. Usually it always happens where you have a big movement when the tightening, it's almost like a squeeze, right? And here's another look. You have like I don't even know what it's a pennant, but I don't know if this is a ascending pennant or descending pennant, right? Whether this is bullish or not, or bearish, something is about to happen in the near future, starting from this week. But here's another one. Here's another look that's showing that MACD on the daily is crossing to the upside. So can we get that recovery starting from this week? Can we get that recovery, that explosiveness upwards, and get Bitcoin possibly back to the 19 or 20,000, because we were just there. We were just there before this FTX fallout, contagion, collapse, right? Possibly. Let's not discount it. So let's see what happens this week. U.S. market could be good this week too, because of it could be a continuation last week. So we will see. But of course, we got other stuff going on that may be drivers of crypto. So like I said at the beginning, a lot of you guys are either going to watch football or football. So of course, I think today is the launch of the World Cup, basically the start of World Cup. And in terms of, I don't know how many people are watching. I mean, U.S., I think traditionally not a big soccer country, but there's still a lot of people that will be watching. It's the major sporting event that everyone around the world watches, right? Not for me. I'm not a soccer guy or a football guy, but still, many will. And according to this, this is the first year where sports betting is legal and will apply for, or not the first year for sports betting being legal. First time sports betting will be conducted for the World Cup. So just in America alone, we're wagering $1.8 billion. Okay, and that could be way under. So that shows you, that's just in the U.S. alone. I don't know about other countries. I don't know if other countries do allow Bitcoin or soccer gambling. But you know, we have a lot of projects that's involved, right? Obviously, Algorand, I mentioned this. This will be a big thing for them. And I do think that they came up slightly today because of it. So FIFA is the official partner or Algorand. Getting my terms mixed up. But Algorand is the official FIFA partner, and they will be providing a blockchain wallet, and also who knows how many other, tokens or NFTs or anything else they will be doing. But they are an official partner of FIFA, so that's pretty good for Algorand. But there's others, like, for example, CZ and Binance, they have brought on board Ronaldo. So I don't know what Binance is doing. I think they came out with exclusive Ronaldo NFTs. I think that's about the extent of it. I don't know if they support any teams or not. But you also have someone like Chiliz, right, which has partnered up with a lot of teams that are playing. Portugal, Argentina, and others. So Chiliz could get a boost too. So there are crypto projects that's involved in this World Cup, which is arguably the largest sporting event on the planet. So maybe we get a boost, or maybe these projects get a boost. So these are good things to look forward to. All right, and then lastly, another project that's involved, and something that I've been showing you guys, and they are the sponsor for this video, is SoRare. SoRare is also a project out of France that allows you to do fantasy sports and compete for NFTs, right? I've been showing you guys this because I'm a big NBA guy, so I've been playing with the NBA league, but of course, a lot of you guys that are soccer fans or football fans, you can create your own lineup and compete with possibly hundreds of thousands or millions of players and compete for NFTs, and it's all for free, and you can do something with those NFTs as well, right? So, like for me, these are the players on my team. I'm showing you NBA because I'm not a big football guy, but these are the players on my team. You get handed cards and you play the lineups, and then you compete with others. So last week I was competing with 84,000 people. I came in 21,000, so at least it's the upper half. But you do win rewards. You could claim rewards every week, right? So you win a new card, and it's going to work the same way for soccer or baseball if you're a baseball guy, right? So yay, I get Draymond and not Ben Simmons. But yeah, and then you collect cards, and every week you can compete again, and then also utilize your new cards, and you get new cards every day too. Like for example, here you could do a daily drop, and you could select one of the cards that you want. Wow, and then you can see the score. I will select Caruso. I like Caruso, right? So it's just something fun. It's completely free to play. So if you want to compete with football or soccer, right? You build your own squad. Let's just do it. Your Global Cup, requirements, matches, leaderboards, prize pool, right? You can see all the prizes that are there. So in case you guys want to play, earn free NFTs, check out SoRare. All right, guys. That is it. Let's see what happens with Bitcoin and crypto this following week. All right, let's do some Q&A. Someone's asking, how do you feel about Phantom? Can we expect it to rise up to all-time high? Yes. Dumb Draymond. I don't really have a favorite NBA team. It was the Lakers, but they are playing like absolute garbage, so I can't. I don't know who my favorite team is anymore. Honestly, probably I'm rooting probably just for Giannis to win another one. All right. Scrolling up here. Fact. Anyone making over 100K has Caroline as a GF is a serious liability. Wish I had known. Would have short FTT with every penny I own. I don't get that. Why? I don't. I get it, and it kind of makes sense. It kind of doesn't. So okay. Obviously, I don't know. Caroline was behind the scenes. Everyone just knew about SBF, but obviously she was not innocent because her famous last words on Twitter were to CZ saying, "We'll buy all your FTT at $22. That did not age well. A day afterwards, FTT collapsed and the whole thing collapsed. So obviously that was not wise at that point. But she's not in Bahamas. She was in Hong Kong. So I don't know if she got away with it. I don't know. All right, scrolling down here. Rob, appreciate it. Any thoughts on BitBoy War with Kevin O'Leary? No thoughts. No thoughts. I just know that it was very stupid for Kevin O'Leary to come out and say that I still think he's a great guy. He has no bad bone in his body. I'm still going to invest with him again. If he asks me in the future, I don't get that at all. I mean, everyone was fooled, right? There was a lot of celebrities, a lot of brands, even myself. We were all fooled that everything was okay, right? But now we know better, right? What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? Like, so why would he go out on a limb and say that, you know, I still trust the guy and there's no evil bone in his body? So I don't get that. I don't know what else BitBoy said about him, but that just doesn't make any sense to me. Neon Visual, I guess it's kind of like that. I kind of like that. Matic, thank you. CRO, hey, Mike Eastwood, appreciate it. Big super chat. What do you want to know about CRO? I mean, I covered them a lot recently, right? I was very careful with my words, even though there were a lot of things speculated about CRO and how they may have problems, right? And them sending accidentally $400 million to Kraken. You know, they showed their proof of reserves. It has not gone down, right? If there's a major withdrawal and you see that in the proof of reserves, I would say that's concerning. But right now, seems like they have weathered the storm and they're doing okay. So those proof of reserves that a lot of exchanges are coming out with, I think it's good to keep your eyes on them, because if you start seeing them drop significantly, then there's something bad happening. Any advice for how CBDCs for crazy gains? No, you can't make profit. You can't make crazy gains on CBDCs unless they become off peg, but they're all pegged to, you know, either a dollar or the fiat currency that they reside in, the country they reside in. So you're not going to make crazy gains off of stable coins. What's the point of hard wallet when in the end all cold wallets are protected by seed phrase anyways? It seems to me Ledger's the extra password to remember. It's just a extra protection against your seed phrase. That's really it is. It's like putting a password on top of a seed phrase. So you don't have to. I mean, you could just memorize your private key if you wanted to, but it's just an easy way to do it. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's just safeguarding. It makes it easier to kind of restore onto another device, right? Little advantages here and there. Do you think FTX will claw back customer funds? Claw back? Like taking you mean keeping what they have already, or like taking even more from customers? I don't think they could take any more from customers, but whether or not they have any left to give out after they repay all the creditors, that's unknown at this point. Because, you know, they had a $8 billion hole. I don't know if that's even more now because that $600 million hack, right? Whether it's a hack, I don't know. But there seems to be a lot of holes everywhere. So they owe $3.1 billion just to the top 50 creditors. What about the bottom 50 creditors? And then what about the people, right? So they had supposedly $8 billion hole. They have some assets, but Whether or not it's enough to pay back anyone, I don't know at this point. And they made so much. Remember, when they were collapsing, I was making fun of the fact that under Twitter, they were being, again, very showboaty, saying, look at all of our new offices. They have a new office, brand new office in Miami, a new office in Tokyo, a new office in Bahamas. They spent so much money. They're just throwing money around so irresponsibly, right? That's why they have such a big hole to fill. Let's see. Is it true that Caroline doesn't believe in crypto? Well, it's irrelevant now, Karen. Whether or not she did or not doesn't matter because she was part of it. She was part of the Alameda research. So, I don't know. This Forbes thing is just really weird. I don't know. Forbes is an investor in FTX too, or I don't know. But this painted her in the brightest light you can be painted, despite all the things that have happened. So I don't know. You know, obviously we have seen that clip. I showed you guys the clip of Caroline saying some dumb things like, oh, you need just elementary math to do what I do, and I don't believe in risk management like short stops and stuff like that. It just made her seem like she had no clue whatsoever. And why was she co-managing $20 billion worth of assets? No clue at all. Yeah, I did mention about Grayscale right at the beginning. So let's see how Barry responds. Barry Schilber, young guy, obviously. I don't know how old he is, but he's running a huge empire. Arguably one of the biggest, maybe right behind CZ. Because Grayscale has a ton of trust, not just the Bitcoin trust, but the Bitcoin trust, of course, is the biggest. We're talking about billions upon billions of Bitcoin that he holds. Now, they say that they are completely fine. They have not used any of the Bitcoin that's in the trust because the trust only has Bitcoin going in and not out, but people are scared because his other company, Genesis Lending, is hurt. There's exposure to FTX. They're looking for $1 billion in funding. So CZ did say that he was interested in possibly acquiring them. He didn't say directly, but it's been rumored. So maybe they come in, bailed out. But right now, it seems like the two other guys he asked said no. But it's still early. But I honestly think this other article I talked about, basically, this is true. If something happens to DCG because of Genesis, they will more likely than not sell Grayscale and all the trust to some other asset manager or other fund manager like Fidelity, who probably really interested in taking it, right? So I do believe that. But whether or not Genesis is going to survive, that's up in the air right now. Do you think BUSD is safe? I trust BUSD more than USDT. Okay. Do I trust it more than USDC? No. I think out of all the stable coins, I trust USDC the most because it's in America, regulated in America. BUSD is by Paxos. I think a lot of people don't know that. Paxos, first of all, is its own stablecoin, but also Paxos is the company behind BUSD and Gemini dollars. So they're also pretty big company. They've been doing stablecoins for a long time, so I would say they're pretty trustworthy. The only one really that I don't trust is USDT. I just can't vouch for Tether. Most people use Tether, but I try to eliminate my Tether holdings as low as possible. Which tokens should be stored in which blockchain? What are the risks storing ETH on B2B chain? I mean, they should all be stored natively on their own chain. If you're switching to a different chain, you're basically creating a synthetic version of it. So if you're ETH, store in the ERC20 token. If it's BNB, store on a BP20 wallet. Same thing with all the other ones. Where can you buy a ledger safely? Well, directly from their site. I have my link in the description, so my affiliate link. But yeah, you buy it directly from them. Now, some people argue, well, you could buy from Amazon and stuff, but I would say buying directly from the company would probably be a better idea so that you don't have to worry about tampering and stuff. But people have said, hey, I bought mine from Amazon just fine. It's up to you. What do you think about Joe Avalanche DeFi token? It's part of their Trader Joe, DEX, right? I think I don't have any opinion about it. The DEX is the DEX. It's not very exciting for me. So I just see it as a utility, like a hammer. We could use a hammer. I don't get very excited about hammers. It's kind of the same thing with DEXs. So if you're on Avalanche, Trader Joe is the biggest DEX there is. BNB and BUSD market cap together already beat out USDC. Binance has already won. Yeah, Binance, they're going to continue to win. But the thing is, BNB is not a stablecoin. BNB is totally different. So you can't really count it as a stablecoin. But if you're looking at the value of their overall combined tokens, they also control Trust token too. But it's a lot. It's a lot. Do you think Sol will survive? Yes or no? Yes. Let's just keep it simple, like you said. Yes. What percentage of ETH do you hold in your portfolio? It's a good amount. It's good. It's up there. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's a good amount. Got FTX t-shirts for sale. Big discounts. I look clean. Thank you. Thank you. I'm tired. I had a good night's sleep, but I'm still tired. Maybe I'm just tired of all the FTX shenanigans. But I'm looking forward to this week. All right. This week, though, is Thanksgiving week. So volume will be lower. A lot of people on vacation. So whenever you have lower volume, generally speaking, nothing happens. But when something happens, it happens in a ferocious way because of the lighter volume, right? And because of you have this tightening Bollinger Band situation going on. You also have this wedge thing that's going on. We could see some crazy movement this week. But unfortunately, which direction? For me, I say up. You guys know I always say up. But no, in this situation, I do think it's up because I think U.S. markets are getting better. And also Bitcoin it's been so devastated, so oversold. So I think, just like Pantera's CEO, that greater things are going to come. And this is a good time to be DCAing. Simple as that. When SBF goes to jail, that's when it's going to be a bottom. Maybe. We still haven't seen that. We haven't seen any of these leaders go to jail yet. And there's some damning stuff. We know that Do Kwon is still out in the win. And his counterpart is getting punished for it. His counterpart is still in South Korea. He just had $104 million seized. He's running this other company, Chai, but he's a co-founder of Terra. So he's getting punished. He may face jail time, but Do Kwon is still out in the wind wherever he is. Still joining, you know, Zoom meetings and stuff. And I don't know what he's doing, right? SBF is still tweeting away from his $45 million mansion. Alex Minshinsky still doing Twitter spaces and interviews and talking to people. Zusu still out and about. No one knows where he is. None of these class projects, their leaders, are in jail. I don't know if it's just it takes that long for the regulators to prosecute, or they just fled and no one knows where they are. I don't know. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Get back to your games. So either football or football, wherever. But, it's not all bad news. Like I said, there are still a lot of Bitcoin bulls out there. Pantera buying 140 million shows you. Great. And his argument using the halving event is a great analysis. So stay strong, my friends. Don't let the contagion scare you. Better days are coming. So stay strong, my friends. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. Take care.